Hi, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. Come to you this afternoon with a book haul. Yesterday, I was able to go to St. Joe and able to go to a couple of my used bookstores that I like to go to. Picked up some, what I think are some pretty great finds, and didn't spend too much money on it, so that's always, always a good thing. I'd like to thank my daughter for this. My wife was cleaning her room, and my daughter's really into music, and she's got all of her instruments, her guitars, banjo, ukulele, electric guitar, keyboard, microphones, all that kind of stuff was like everywhere in her room. And my wife had it, and she said, all right, you're going to St. Joe, you're going to get her a new shelf to kind of organize stuff. So thank you to my daughter and her having too much stuff. But anyway, without further ado, let me get started on these books. And I went to Books Revisited and the Jesse James Antique Mall. That's where I got my books, and I didn't pay more than $5 for any of my new books. Everything ranged from $1 to $5, so I did really good. I think it was $33 is what I spent for this whole stack of books. So let me show you what I got. The first one is Edward Bates of Missouri, Lincoln's Attorney General, and this is by Marvin R. Kane, and it comes from the University of Missouri Press. Now this is a little bit older book, but it's in really, if you look at the spine of it and everything, it's in really good shape. Nothing's broken. This is like I said, University of Missouri Press out of Columbia, Missouri, and it is from 1965. And like I said, it's Lincoln. Edward Bates was Lincoln's Attorney General. I've read lots of stuff about him. I've got other books that devote a whole chapter to him. But I have no biographies on him. So this is my first biography on Edward Bates. So I'm real excited to have this. And as I said, it's in real good condition for the age of the book. And I look forward to reading that. The next one that I was able to pick up yesterday was America, The Last Best Hope, Volume 1, From the Age of Discovery to a World at War. And this is by William J. Bennett. And I was not familiar with him to begin with, and then I looked on his credentials here, and it says that he worked for President Reagan during the 1980s, and so that that kind of, without looking more up, I believe he might be a conservative, but anyway, he's got the Bill Bennett's Morning in America. I'm not familiar with that show. Let's see, he was Secretary of Education from 1985 to 1988. He worked the chairman of the National Endowment for the Humanities, 1981 to 1985. Director of the Office of National Drug Control Policy, 89 to 90. So anyway, I was able to pick this up. This is from it's a 2006 book from the Nelson Current Publishers, and so that'll be interesting to see that point of view on American history. Next book on this book haul, I was able to add to my Lincoln collection. I was real excited about that. I was able to pick up The Last Best Hope of Earth, Abraham Lincoln and the Promise of America, and this comes from Mark E. Neely Jr., pretty famous Lincoln historian. And this is a little bit older copy. It's from Harvard University Press, and it is a 1993 book. And I think this went in conjunction with I was reading at the Huntington Library. Is that where it was? Let me flip back here. This book is published in conjunction with the exhibit at the Huntington Library entitled The Last Best Hope of Earth, Abraham Lincoln and the Promise of America, 1993 to 1994. So this went right along with one of those exhibits they put up in the Huntington Library. So glad to have that in my collection. Nice hardback book. Here's a Civil War history, the most glorious Fourth, Vicksburg and Gettysburg, July 4th, 1863 by Dwayne Schultz. So I'm real excited to have this because I know when I'm teaching this in school, it's always exciting when I get to Vicksburg and Gettysburg. They're two of my favorite battles to read about, to learn about. I think they're just really interesting. They're obviously turning points in the Civil War. This was a W.W. Norton and Company book out of New York, and it was printed in 2002. And so glad to have this. Again, big fan of when I study the Civil War. I like reading about these. I've been to Gettysburg. That was a really neat experience. I would like to go to Vicksburg. I have not been able to do that just yet. It is on my list of things to do. It's one of those. I got a father-in-law who lives down in Texas, and it's one of those things that I hope to someday travel south and maybe somehow veer as I'm going south, veer towards Mississippi and maybe try to hit that. Maybe even hit Shiloh on the way south. That would be a neat one too. So my next book here that I picked up is by Dan Brown, and it's Angels and Demons. It's a nice hardback edition. And this is, again, a little older book. It is from Atria Books out of New York, and it is the year 2000. Now, I've got, I think, all of Dan Brown's books up on the shelf except one. And I had this at one time, and, you got to go back to Steve Donahue's advice. If you loan a book out to somebody, don't expect to ever get it back. When you loan a book out, you always have to have that in mind, that mindset. And I loaned out Angels and Demons to a friend. It was probably 18 years ago is my guess. And he never returned it. And I don't expect to ever get it back. So anyway, I've never brought it up with him. I don't want to make it a big issue or anything. So I just let it go. As you can see, I'm over it. But anyway, I was able to pick up Angels and Demons for cheap, and then it was like 30% off because the store had a sale going on. So that was a good pickup to add to my Dan Brown collection up above. Now, what would a book haul be without a nice baseball book? And so I picked up Great Time Coming by David Faulkner. It's the life of Jackie Robinson from baseball to Birmingham. So I'm super excited to add this into my collection. It's a nice paperback edition. One of my favorite topics in History Day each year with the kids is Jackie Robinson. They absolutely love that. Like every year, that topic gets studied by my kids, and so this will be nice to add to my knowledge so that I can help them. This is a Touchstone book published by Simon & Schuster. It's out of New York, and it's from the year 1996 is what this one, originally 1995. This one's a 1996 book, and so nice paperback edition, real good shape. All these books are in really good shape, and so I'm glad to add that to my baseball collection. All right, next one. This is another Lincoln book because, I can't ever have enough of Lincoln. This is by Paul Angle, and it is Here I Have Lived, A History of Lincoln's Springfield. And this is an older book. I see it in a ton of the bibliographies with the Lincoln books that I study. And it's always in there. Everybody refers back to it, but I've never, ever seen it on a used bookshelf until yesterday when I was going through this. Or till, let's see, I'm probably going to upload this on for Saturday, so I saw it on Thursday. Get my days right. So let's see, and this is going to cover the years 1821 to 1865. Let's see, Abraham Lincoln Bookshop, Chicago, and Lincoln's New Salem, 1971. The original copyright looks like the Abraham Lincoln Association in 1935, but this is a 1971 book. So it's a nice reprint. Nice addition to my collection. All right, so here is a book that I have wanted for a very long time, but when I look on Amazon, when I was doing my big orders on Amazon, I could never find it for a decent price. or at least cheap enough that I would buy it anyway. And it's a biography by John Meacham, who is a very, very good presidential historian. He does a lot of biographies on presidents. And it's American Lion, Andrew Jackson in the White House. And I've wanted this for a long time. I found it for a very good price. I think it was $3. And originally a $30 book at Borders, so like I paid very little. It's from Random House out of New York, and it's a 2008. This is a first edition book. Nice hardback. Got really cool, if you can see the image there on the end papers. Same thing on that side, but biography on Andrew Jackson. So I'm happy to have that. Very interesting to add to my collection. Here was a fun book that I saw, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I moved on, and my mother-in-law ended up buying it for me. It was only $1. It's Topps baseball cards, and it's got all of the Kansas City Royals, all of the Topps baseball cards ever made by the Kansas City Royals from 1969 to 1988. And this was made by, I believe, the Topps Baseball Card Company, published by Price, Stern and Sloan, and well, it must be a 1988 book since it has 88 cards in it. I don't see the publishing date. But Larry Schwartz did the text that's involved in it, and just really cool book. Shows, if you're a baseball card collector anyway, shows a picture of all of the different cards that were created by Topps of the Kansas City Royals throughout the years. So you can find your fan favorites here. Nice little edition, just a fun book. All right, so here's another book that I found. It's called Desperate Passage, The Donner Party's Perilous Journey West by Ethan Rarick. And I have actually checked this out from the library, when it first came out. Because I got it when it was brand new. Let's see, this is from Oxford University Press, and it's 2008, so I would have checked it out in 2008. And I read it back in 2008, absolutely loved it. I thought it was a good book, great history of the Donner Party, and I had never read a book on them before, and I thought it was very interesting. It's got nice pictures. It's all done with the diaries, the journals, the newspaper articles from that time period that were left behind. But anyway, I was really glad to add this to my collection because I've always wanted it, and I've never seen it in any of the bookstores. So that was a nice edition. Here is, this one is called We Two, Victoria and Albert, Rulers, Partners, Rivals by Gillian Gill. What a name, Gillian Gill. This is on Queen Victoria and her marriage and her husband's rule of England. And this is a, let's see, Ballantine Books, trade paperbacks out of New York, and it is a 2010 book, this printing is. And so I was glad to have that. I've been trying to build up my world history collection, and I've got a couple things on Queen Victoria, so this will be a nice addition to that. Nice paperback, in good shape. And then the last book in this book haul is another Lincoln book, and this is Lincoln on Democracy, His Own Words with Essays by America's Foremost Civil War Historians. And it is edited and introduced by Mario Como and Harold Holzer. Of course, I know Harold Holzer. He's done tons of Lincoln books. And there they are on the back, Mario Como and Harold Holzer. But this has essays from a lot of big-name authors. Let me just name a few here. It's got Gaber Borett. It's got tons of different essays by Lincoln. I thought I had a couple other authors. William Knapp, or Knapp, if that's how you say it. Sorry if I butchered that. Charles Strozier, Richard Nelson Current. So I've heard of these guys. They're big name guys. James McPherson, one of my favorite authors. It's got Mark E. Neely Jr., another big name, Lincoln guy. Hans Trefos. Sorry, butchering it again. But anyway, it's got some big name Lincoln historians. And this is a lot of the writings and essays from Lincoln himself and how he addressed Congress or his inaugural speeches, that kind of stuff. So anyway, good to add into the collections from Harper Perennial. And it is a 1991 book. Originally 1990, this one's a 1991. And so I'm glad to add that to the collection. So I thought this is a pretty good book haul. I don't think I spent too much money on it. I hope you like that. I hope you enjoy that. Tell me what you think. If you've read any of the books, if you think there are any, if you've got opinions of them, you can share with me down below. And thank you for watching BookTube, and happy reading.